Let's begin with an experiment. It's called the candle problem. It was designed by Carl Duncker in 1945. The objective here is to fix the candle to the wall such that the wax doesn't drip onto the table using only these materials: a candlestick, a box of tacks, and some matches. In 1962, Sam Glucksberg performed this experiment on MBA students at Kellogg, and it went something like this. This subject has been told that he will get money if he can solve this problem. The faster he solves it, the more money he will get. This subject wasn't promised any reward. We just told him that we were going to measure how fast he can solve the problem to establish norms. And go. As you can see, there is a clear contradiction here. Rewards are supposed to enhance motivation, to make people work better. But this experiment clearly shows that they can do the complete opposite. This is one of the most important discoveries in behavioral science, and yet one of the most ignored. So, how should we motivate people? Well, the candle problem illustrates the difference between extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is essentially if-then rewards, the carrot and stick approach. If you do this, I will give you that. Intrinsic motivation is driven by an interest or enjoyment in the task itself, rather than relying on external pressures. In our everyday lives, we constantly see examples of the benefits of products that have been created through intrinsic motivation. Perhaps two we use the most are Facebook and Gmail. Facebook was created in early 2004 out of a dorm room in Harvard. Mark Zuckerberg built this website not to make money, but rather to attempt to become involved in an elite social circle. Many companies have tried to replicate this concept, but virtually none have succeeded. Does Facebook have some sort of magic code? Or did the other companies simply lack the insight and motivation to create a social solution because it is for their job and not for their personal satisfaction? Paul Buckeye created Gmail, not as part of his job, but rather as a side project. Paul was not instructed by Google to build an email system, but rather he was responding to the inconvenience of mailbox limits set forth by Hotmail. This was a project that was motivated by the desire to make life easier for himself and other Google employees. Today, Gmail has grown into one of Google's best and most widely adopted products. These examples illustrate that intrinsic motivation is best suited for 21st century tasks, ones that involve creativity or outside-the-box thinking. Speaking of creative thinking, do you know what kind of thinker you are? Left-brain thinkers tend to be logical, sequential, and objective, looking at parts of the problem to determine a solution. Right-brain thinkers, on the other hand, tend to be more holistic, synthesizing, and intuitive, looking at the whole picture to create a solution. Neither the left nor the right can be considered the better way of thinking. However, as we age, we fall into a pattern of focusing too heavily on left-brain thinking, and lose the ability to think as creatively. Take a look at the following clip of a dancer spinning. Is she spinning clockwise or counterclockwise? You use your right brain if you see her spinning clockwise. You use your left brain if you see her spinning counterclockwise. If you see her spinning in alternate directions, then you are considered whole brain and use both sides relatively equally. After knowing this, can you make yourself see the dancer in both directions? The idea is to attempt to translate this experiment into real-life situations. You are more likely to be effective if you are able to alternate your thinking process and achieve whole brain problem solving. Now, based on what we know about motivation, creativity, and outcomes, how can we as business people use science to our advantage? It has been proven that companies who give their employees meaningful amounts of autonomy reap the benefits of enhanced business results. An example of this is FedEx Days. FedEx Days allow employees to have free reign over their work for 24 hours. They can work on anything they want, provided that they present an idea at a meeting the next day. A more radical example is the results-only working environment, or ROE. This model allows employees complete flexibility, so long as they deliver on their work. With the ROE model, productivity, engagement, and satisfaction go up, while employee turnover goes down. It seems that our businesses have much to learn from what science tells us. Science tells us three things. Extrinsic motivators only work in a narrow band of circumstances. If-then rewards often destroy creativity, and intrinsic motivation trumps all. All of these findings tell us that businesses can become better, more productive, and more engaging if we match what science knows with what businesses do.